How are you doing all? You all? Only good?
No.
Huh? Joshua, please come forward. This side. Done. So today we are going to talk about quantitative techniques of measurement of tourism concepts. So the key component in this lecture is to understand what are the different tourism concepts and how we are going to measure them, right? कि वो टूरिज्म कंसेप्ट्स कौन कौन से हैं और उनको हम कैसे मेजर करेंगे। जब मेजर करने की बात आती है तो क्या मतलब है इसका? इसका क्या मतलब है बताओ? बताओ बताओ। जब when we are saying measurement of tourism concepts, तो ये जो मेजरमेंट है वो क्या चीज है? बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या है आपकी मेजरमेंट के ऊपर? इधर इधर आओ, बताओ मेजरमेंट के ऊपर बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या है आपका? ग्रेट और कैलकुलेशन और बारीकी से देखना, मेजरमेंट बारीकी से देखना, ठीक है। और फर्स्ट बताओ मेजरमेंट। देखो सी, इफ यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू पार्टिसिपेट दिस लेक्चर इज ऑफ नो यूज, ठीक है। और मिनिस्ट्री जो इतना पैसा लगा रही है दैट इज ऑल्सो ऑफ नो यूज, ठीक है। कुछ बोलो, सीखो, बताओ। तीन चार पॉइंट्स है इसमें, क्वांटिटेटिव टेक्निक्स है, मेजरमेंट है और टूरिज्म कंसेप्ट्स है। क्या बोल रहे हैं ये तीन चार चीजें, क्या बोल रही हैं? मेजरमेंट के ऊपर डिस्कस करते हैं पहले। सबसे पहले मेजरमेंट, इफ आई एम सेइंग व्हाट इज योर हाइट, so how are you going to not measure but how are you going to answer this question? क्या क्या हिसाब से देखना? In the beginning when first time you came to know about your height, what was the process? Like how did you come to know like I am this much uh, tall? By measurement. So that measurement scale was there. It can be some that that scale, है ना? What we call it, inch tape, right? That is, this is how you are going to, or some other measurement machines. If someone is going to you are going to a market and you are going to get 1 kg of sugar or 1 kg of milk, right? 1 liter of milk. So there is a different measurement scale for the liquid also, for the weight also, for the height also. These are the different measurement scale. Is the concept with the similar is the concept with the measurement of a tourism concepts also, right? Now come back to this very first statement, quantitative techniques. Anyone has idea about quantitative techniques? Bachelors, tourism bachelors. Quantitative techniques, something to measure the quantity, something which is talking about the numbers, right? Your height is a number, weight of this sugar packet is a number, right? Your height is a number, right? Kilometers are a number. So what are the number based techniques? What are those number based techniques to measure the tourism concept? So we are going to discuss about those techniques and how we are going to measure those tourism concepts. But before that we will go through some very basic concepts regarding this. Okay, so today we are going to cover these few of the interesting topics, which are quantitative techniques of the broader heading is quantitative techniques of measurement of tourism concepts, building research model, right? How we are going to build the research models, right? And interlinkage of tourism research, how these research models are linked with the tourism research, right? And identification of tourism research variables, right? So all these modeling identification of a research variable is a focus towards the tourism concepts. What are the different concepts in tourism? Any terminology which is related to tourism. Simply, for example, you if you are talking about physics, you will read about gravitational forces, centrifugal forces, mass, planet, all such kind of things. Similarly, when we are talking about the tourism, there are different concepts in tourism. What are those different concepts? बताओ. Tourism, all of you are from the tourism background, right? So any one concept from your side? Destination. Great. Tourism destination is a general word, but when we are using the word tourism destination, it means we are talking specifically for in context of tourism, right? And tourism destination have few characteristics. They are like the economy of that destination is a tourism centric, right? That place will host multinational peoples from multi nations. A tourism destination can have a multi cuisine restaurants. So there are different sub concepts are associated with the major concept, that is a tourism destination. समझ आ रहा है आप लोगों को? Tourism destination is a one concept. ठीक है, उसके अंदर सब कंसेप्ट हैं जो उसके रिलेटेड हैं. ठीक है, टूरिज्म स्टेक होल्डर्स आएगा उसमें, टूरिज्म स्टेक होल्डर्स आएगा, डेस्टिनेशन अट्रैक्शंस आएगा, डेस्टिनेशन एक्सेसिबिलिटी आएगा जो हमने 5 इयर्स पढ़ रहे थे लास्ट लेक्चर में. एक्सेसिबिलिटी आएगा, एमिनिटीज ऑफ डेस्टिनेशंस आएगा, राइट? और जो टूरिज्म डेस्टिनेशन का और की कैरेक्टरिस्टिक क्या है कि वहां का जो आपका सर्विसेज है, सर्विसेज जो है दे आर प्रो टूरिज्म, they are more towards the catering of the tourist, right? Any other concept, tourism concept? Accommodation is we covered it in the destination tourism destination concept. 5 ways. Anything else? Anything else? और बताओ फर्स्ट, आप बताओ. Activities or accept 5 ways. Now add these. Go ahead bit. Other than 5 ways, what others are? Sustainable tourism. Great. Next बताओ. और concept, there are so many numerous tourism concepts. बताओ. Your first time, then answer. क्या? Fourth. Okay, बताओ. और please go ahead fast. Tourism experience is a tourism concept. Destination image is a tourism concept. Destination performance is a tourism concept. There are key components which are associated with the tourism education, right? You are talking about a tourist satisfaction, that is a tourism concept. Tourism concept, simply in layman language, it is like whatever you are going to study within the discipline of tourism, right? Can you talk about a reproductive system in tourism? No, almost no. But when we are going to talk about health tourism or some other, then we can add it. But generally, it is not part of your tourism education, right? Similarly, tourism geography, tourism system, right? Doxy's irradiation index, tourist contentment, tourist experiences, cultural immersion, sustainable tourism, right? Accommodation industry, activities industries. These are the key concepts of a tourism. Right? Tourism life cycle area, tourism destination life cycle area, toxicity irradiation index. All these are the concepts. Different tourist arrivals, destination image, tourist expenditure. How are you going to measure? Carrying capacity. These are the key concepts you are supposed to study in a tourism. Right? Many of them we have already discussed. Now in this lecture we are going to talk about how we are going to measure them. Okay, quantitatively in numbers. In there are two components. We generally say quantitative measurement and qualitative measurement. Okay, quantitative measurement, it talks about the numbers, but qualitative measurement, it talks about a non-numbers component. It is more about a not quality but experiences. It is more about a assay kind of informations. It is more about a kind of observations. For example, your review about XYZ hotel is not a quantitative data, it is a qualitative data, qualitative informations. Rating, right? These are the quantitative numbers. These are the quantitative information, right? Sorry, qualitative information. Reviews of hotels are qualitative, and weight, tourist arrival, tourist expenditure, for how many days a tourist is staying, it is a quantitative. Clear? Then, we were here in the tourism research component. Okay, so now our measurement is connected with these different research, tourism research components, right? For example, you want to know the tourists visiting to Ladakh are satisfied or not, right? You want to know this. How are you going to know this now? You will, any others? How are you going to measure this? A tourist coming to this place is satisfied or not? Reviews, yes, reviews is one component. Other survey or data collection, or when you are studying, there are different methods to study. Nowadays, young generation is studying only from the YouTube, but there are other methods also. You go for tuition, you study there. You are into self study mode. You are just studying the books. Maybe you have someone at home who is mentoring you. Different methods to study, to get educated, right? Maybe others are also there. Similarly, there are different methods to measure these tourism concepts, and it depends upon the choice of an individual researcher, how he or she is going to measure them. Clear? क्या clear? बताओ कि जो tourism concepts हैं. For example, I want to measure tourist satisfaction in context of Ladakh. How we are going to do that? Everyone will evolve their own techniques. For example, when there was no technology, was this practice was not into practice to measure the satisfaction of a tourist? हमारे अबले वो जो पुराने बुजुर्ग लोग थे वो क्या ऐसा काम नहीं करते थे? वो करते थे, वो बिहेवियर ऑब्जर्व करते थे टूरिस्ट का, कैसा है उनका, समझे? उसके वो या फिर वो उसको अकोमोडेशन अच्छा लगा नहीं लगा, तो इट वाज देयर प्रैक्टिस, दे वर इनटू दैट बिजनेस फॉर सो लॉन्ग, है ना? उनको ऑब्जर्व करते थे, वो ऑब्जर्व, दे वर इनटू ऑब्जर्व, दे वर नॉट गोइंग विद टू मीट देम एंड आस्किंग द क्वेश्चंस लाइक यू वर डूइंग यस्टरडे. ठीक है, उनकी फीडबैक, बिहेवियर, जो क्वालिटेटिव वे थे, राइट? सो दिस इज हाउ दे वर डूइंग ऑल दीज थिंग्स इन knowing or in measuring one concept, tourist satisfaction. There are many others also. Hygiene, hygienic practices at hotels, hygienic practices at the tourism destinations, infrastructure at a tourism destination. How are you going to measure all these things? लद्दाख में टूरिज्म इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अच्छा है या नहीं है, ये कैसे कैसे पता करेंगे आप लोग? टूरिज्म डिपार्टमेंट से पूछेंगे। हमने इससे पहले एक बात शी सेड ऑब्जर्व करेंगे, ही सेड टूरिज्म डिपार्टमेंट से पूछेंगे, शी सेड टूरिस्ट से पूछेंगे। ऑल द थ्री वेज आर करेक्ट। क्योंकि हमने क्या पता पहले क्या बोला हमने कि इट इज द इंडिविजुअल चॉइस, रिसर्चर्स चॉइस विच टेक्निक ही और शी वांट्स टू गो। क्लियर? नेक्स्ट है आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ टूरिज्म रिसर्च वेरिएबल्स। ये बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है कि मुझे रिसर्च किस चीज के ऊपर करनी है। ये कैसे पता करते हैं हम? ये भी टूरिस्ट से पूछेंगे। फिर नहीं, हम अपने अपने कॉन्टेक्स्ट में पूछ रहे हैं इसको। हम इस चीज को अपने कॉन्टेक्स्ट में डिस्कस कर रहे हैं कि मुझे किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में रिसर्च करनी, मुझे क्या रिसर्च, मुझे टूरिस्ट सेटिस्फेक्शन के ऊपर काम करना है, या मुझे टूरिस्ट हैप्पीनेस के ऊपर काम करना है, या मुझे टूरिस्ट की कंटेंटमेंट के ऊपर काम करना है, या मुझे टूरिस्ट की वेलनेस के ऊपर काम करना है, या मुझे टूरिस्ट एक्सपीरियंसेस के ऊपर काम करना है, या मुझे टूरिज्म इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के ऊपर काम करना है, या मुझे टूरिस्ट अराइवल के ऊपर काम करना है, या मुझे एक टूरिस्ट जो लद्दाख में आता है वो कितने दिन स्पेंड करता है उसके ऊपर काम करना है। किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा? ये इंडिविजुअल इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर। ठीक है, आई वॉन्ट टू नो हाउ मेनी टूरिस्ट आर कमिंग टू लद्दाख फॉर स्पोर्ट्स, so it will be your interest na, it wouldn't be my interest because you yesterday you mentioned like I am into sports. समझ रहे हैं आप लोग? किस चीज पे रिसर्च करनी है वो इंडिविजुअल चॉइस होती है। ठीक है, सो ये है। तो फिर उसी के बेसिस पे हम जो है वो वेरिएबल्स को आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं। फिर और क्या है? लिटरेचर रिव्यू करते हैं। लिटरेचर रिव्यू क्या होता है? पूछेंगे, पढ़ेंगे, हम किताबें पढ़ेंगे, अलग अलग किताबें पढ़ेंगे, रिसर्च पेपर्स पढ़ेंगे, रिपोर्ट्स पढ़ेंगे। ठीक है, एक और तरीका है हम किसी जो लर्न है, उस फील्ड का लर्न प्रोफेसर है, हम उससे मिलते हैं। जो एक एक होता है ना सीनियर, जैसे आप पढ़ाई करने के लिए बाहर जाते हैं तो आप किससे पूछेंगे? जो पहले बाहर पढ़ के आया है उसको पूछेंगे ना कि बाहर कौन सी स्टेट में जाऊं, कहाँ जाऊं, या लद्दाख में पढ़ूं। तो आजकल तो आपके सीनियर ये बोलते होंगे कि बाहर में तो आप लद्दाख में ही पढ़ो, है ना? सो दिस इज हाउ यू डिसाइड द थिंग्स। क्लियर? सो लेट्स गो टू द फुल फ्लेज्ड प्रैक्टिस। सो क्वांटिटेटिव, what is quantitative? Numbers, right? When we are using the word quant or quantitative, it means it is a talking about numbers. Clear? And when we are talking about qualitative, it means it is talking about no numbers. Be more specific please. No numbers or some observations, experiences. Clear? Okay. Tourist arrival in Ladakh, number of tourist arrival in Ladakh is qualitative or quantitative? Quantitative. Qualitative. How many of you are in qualitative section? No one. Good. So quantitative, it is something which is related to numbers. And what is quantitative data now? क्वांटिटेटिव के साथ हमने क्वांटिटेटिव डाटा लगा दी। क्वांटिटेटिव डाटा क्या है? एग्जांपल, एनी टू एग्जांपल फ्रॉम योर साइड, एनी टू एग्जांपल्स ऑफ अ क्वांटिटेटिव डेटा? बताओ बताओ। नंबर्स किस किस डाटा में जो है वो नंबर्स होते हैं? अच्छा, डाटा क्या होता है पहले ये भी तो पता करें। डाटा क्या होता है? There is a basic statement. There is a two type of data: primary data and secondary data. Whatever you are collecting at your own, right? For example, whatever information you are collecting or getting any kind of data, that is a primary data. And if you are getting any information from the outside, from the other published resources, that is a secondary data. The source of secondary data can be tourism website, right? Ministry of Tourism website, Ministry of Education website. If you want to know about the school student enrollment ratios, then you are supposed to go to Ministry of Education, right? If you want to know about this national education policy, then you will go through that published document. That published document, national education policy published document, is a primary data for you or secondary data for you? Secondary. Great, done. So now come back to the point of quantitative data. What is quantitative data? Your numbers, the marks you have obtained in a paper examinations, 70%, 80%. What is that? That is a quantitative data. 4 lakh tourists visited Ladakh, 5 lakh tourists visited Ladakh. What is that? What is that? Huh? क्यों इतने वो क्यों हैं आप? मतलब क्वांटिटेटिव लॉस्ट, आई फील लाइक लॉस्ट. बताओ क्वांटिटेटिव और क्वालिटेटिव में क्या डिफरेंस है? बताओ. मैम ने जबरदस्ती भेजा है सोनू मैम ने. देखो हाँ कर रहा है. ठीक है. सो क्वांटिटेटिव इज, क्वांटिटेटिव की बात जब कर रहे हैं तो क्वांटिटेटिव इट इज रिलेटेड टू समथिंग डेटा, नंबर्स, राइट? You, the number you obtained in your 10th standard, 12th standard, first year, second year, right? That is a quantitative data. And someone is going to ask you like, how are you feeling today? What is your perception about Ladakh? That whatever information you are giving under those questions, that is a qualitative. Okay? The reviews are tourist reviews, hotel reviews, bike services reviews, shopping reviews, right? This is a experiences sharing, that is a qualitative data, right? You are the data you collected through observations is also qualitative. Okay, so examples of quantitative data. Najma, quantitative data का एक example. और एग्जाम्पल पूछ रहे हैं हम सीधा एग्जाम्पल डायरेक्टली. वो नहीं, गूगल फॉर्म तो कुछ और है. टूल, दैट इज अ टूल, दैट इज अ टूल टू कलेक्ट डेटा. सही था. कोविड केसेस, दैट इज अ क्वांटिटेटिव डेटा, राइट? So number of students in a class is a quantitative data. Number of lectures attended by the students is a quantitative data. Number of hotels in Ladakh, quantitative data. Number of homestays in Ladakh, population of Ladakh is a quantitative, right? Tourist spending is a quantitative, right? Number of days spent by a tourist in Ladakh is a quantitative data, right? It is giving you some exact number. Okay. Okay, there is then there is one very important statement by all these philosophers, Fred and Cam, that either you are going for quantitative research or qualitative research, right? Research you are doing on the basis of numbers or on the basis of non-numbers. You are always giving some reference which is non-numbers, which is into non-number. You conclude something, na? For example, you traveled from Leh to Sri Lanka, Colombo, right? You met so many number of people, right? That is into numbers. You had experience also, that is a qualitative thing. But in the end, when you ask someone, how do you conclude your tour? You conclude it as 100% successful tour, or you conclude it as a memorable tour. So conclusion is always something qualitative, right? The same destiny. So these are the, like, either you, for example, you want to reach Chandigarh, so you can go by air also, you can go by road also. So both the ways to reach the same destination. You conclude something, okay, which is known numbers. So data analysis. Now we have data, quantitative data and qualitative data. So what is this quantitative this data analysis now? क्या जानना बताओ. क्या है डाटा एनालिसिस? क्या चीज है? पढ़ना, एनालाइज करना। अब निकालो कल के क्वेश्चन पेपर, क्वेश्चनर अपने, कल वाले क्वेश्चनर किस किसके पास है, निकालो उनको। किसको? मैंने फोन में फोटो क्लिक करने के लिए बोला था। क्या पता नहीं ये कौन सा अप्रोच है। आई आस्क यू टू कीप इट विद योरसेल्फ। आपने मैम को सबमिट कर दिया है सबने? किसके पास है? आपने क्यों नहीं किया मैम को सबमिट? क्या? चलो पढ़ो। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन क्या है उसमें? एज। You have question? You have? Okay. You have anyone else? Okay. So all of you just mention the age. What is the age of tourists in your questionnaire? 35. You? 34. 42. Anyone else? So what is the age? 49? दो टूर से पूछा। 49, 49, 47, 42 and 34, 34, 35, 47, 49. So ये चार इंफॉर्मेशन मिल गया आपकी, चार डाटा मिल गया, क्वांटिटेटिव डाटा मिल गया। अब इसका एवरेज निकालेंगे हम तो क्या बनेगा बताओ? करो करो कैलकुलेट करो फटाफट, फोन यूज करो। 32 प्लस फोन करो यूज। 32 प्लस 39। बाकी पेन पेंसिल तो है ना बाकियों के पास? ठीक है, डिवाइडेड बाय 1 2 4। The average age of the respondent is 28. Okay, average age of the tourist visiting to Shanti Stupa is 28. Okay, so this is a, we have that data and we analyze that and we found something this. Or in general you can say the majority of the tourists traveling to this place are between 30 to 40, 30 to 50, right? This is how you analyze the data, right? Or you can this is the very basic, this is very the basic, like it's a simplest form of a data analysis. When you are using descriptive analysis, you are describing the data, you are using the frequency and then you are analyzing that, you are making some conclusions, right? What is the next question? Why are you traveling to Ladakh? What is the answer there? Adventure. Second? Second? Adve adventure and explore the Ladakh. What is it? Culture. Culture and leisure. Anyone else? To enjoy mountain. So we can say the majority of the people they talked about cultural exploration. And yesterday we already discussed the report of Ministry of Tourism. Even though this is number is very small, we are talking about only 4 5 tourists, right? Out of 5 tourists, 2 tourists or 3 tourists are traveling for cultural exploration. So we can say majority of the tourists are in Ladakh for cultural exploration. And this is the report. It was saying in 2017 they explored, like majority of the tourists traveling to Ladakh are for either for culture or either for adventure. So you are getting some insights कि 2017 में चला था ट्रेंड, वो 2025 में भी है. You will see trend analysis also. This is a data analysis technique. Okay, so this is the data analysis. There is one so you got it, the basic concept. What is that? Data analysis. Clear? Now there is another term, data analytics also. Data analysis and data analytics. Data analytics is kind of a complete informations. Complete informations. A data analysis technique can use multiple techniques of data analysis to give you a proper visualized image with conclusions, right? अब हम डाटा एनालिसिस करते क्यों है? क्यों करेंगे हम डाटा एनालिसिस? क्यों करेंगे? क्या फायदा है बताओ? क्या एग्जैक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन और कंक्लूजन लिखने के लिए आप बताओ क्यों करेंगे हम? कोई डाटा पड़ा है हमारे पास, हम उसको क्यों एनालाइज करेंगे? बताओ बताओ। आप एग्जाम दे रहे हैं, फर्स्ट ईयर में इतने मार्क्स लिए आपने, सेकंड में इतने लिए, थर्ड में इतने लिए, फोर्थ में इतने लिए, ठीक है, सेमेस्टर वाइज। तो उस सारे डाटा को आप ऐसे छोड़ देंगे, आप उससे उससे ड्रॉ करेंगे, कम से कम एवरेज ही निकाल लेंगे कि मेरी एवरेज कितनी बन रही है, मेरी परसेंटेज कितनी बन रही है, इतना तो कर लेंगे ना। सो टू कंक्लूड समथिंग, अब मान लो फॉर एग्जाम्पल one person is there who is just appearing into exam and even not taking care of his mark sheet and nothing, right? He doesn't know or she doesn't know how many marks she has or he has in a first semester, second semester, third, right? And there is other person who has a clear vision, like I want to achieve, I want to pass my graduation with 90%, right? Or grading, whatever grade is a plus grade. So you will calculate your marks from the first year, second semester, third semester, fourth. Then you will calculate them, right? So then you will think like, okay, is it going at par with my goal or not? So it helps you to make a decision also. It helps you to find the trend also. It helps you to understand the market also, right? Different data. It helps you to understand the sales pattern also. For example, a property is selling 10 tour package per day, right? B company is selling 20 tour package per day, right? So they can compare. In addition to that, they can take care of a tourist expenditure also, right? For example, there can be a person, for example, Joffel is there, uh, he's selling 20 tour package or during the whole season, right? And there is another person who is selling only 2 tour package during the whole season. He is spending at selling 20 tour package with a, for example, 10,000 per tour package, so it will be around 2 lakh, right? There is other person who is selling only 2 package for 1 lakh each. So it will show you, right? That data will help you to compare the output to make decision. Then next time your will also think, I will also switch toward that thing, like handling 20 tours is such a hectic task and output is only 2 lakhs. She will say, okay, I handle only 2 tours and less hectic, right? समझ रहे हैं आप लोग? इसलिए डाटा एनालिसिस जो है वो करते हैं, डाटा एनालाइज करते हैं और हम उसे डिसीजन ड्रॉ करते हैं। अब डिसीजन का क्या क्या अच्छा है? If you have a correct information, if you have correct data, you can help the policy maker, you can help the nation to draw better policies. ठीक है? For example, the majority of the tourists traveling to Leh are Japanese. Then we can ask the government to develop some signboards, Japanese language specific signboards, right? अगर आपके पास डाटा नहीं है, आप you're just going and visiting the DC साहब, then DC साहब बोलेंगे क्यों खर्चा करना है हमने यहाँ पे? डीसी साहब तो यही बोलेंगे ना कि हमने क्यों खर्चा करना है यहाँ पे, क्यों साइनेज लगवाना है और क्यों, पर यू विल हैव दैट इंफॉर्मेशन। सर देखो, विद द पैसेज ऑफ ईयर द नंबर ऑफ जापानीज टूरिस्ट अराइवल इज इंक्रीजिंग। समझ रहे हैं आप? समझ रहे हैं कि नहीं समझ रहे? इफ यू आर सेइंग आई एम इंटेलिजेंट, तो बेसिक क्राइटेरिया क्या है? मार्कशीट दिखाओ। मार्कशीट इज शोइंग योर डाटा। समझ रहे हैं आप लोग? This is the importance of data. In 21st century, we have knowledge-based economy, right? In knowledge-based economy, data is highly important, and nowadays it is it is a very clear saying, data is the fuel. Data is the new fuel. Those economies which has a higher control over the data, they will excel in future. Clear? समझ आ रहा है आप लोगों को? नहीं आ रहा समझ? Okay. So it helps us into decision making. It helps us to improve the efficiency and productivity also. For example, A company have 20 employees and B company has 10 employees, right? But the company A is having profit of a x by z amount and company B is having profit of a x by z amount, then you will compare that, okay, does the numbers merely having more number of employees is leading towards more profit or not? ठीक है, समझ रहे हैं आप लोग एफिशिएंसी कैसे बढ़ेगी कि हमने 10, आपकी कंपनी में 10 एम्प्लॉइज हैं, 10 एम्प्लॉइज से मैंने ये काम करवा रहा हूँ, इतनी इतनी पे दे रहा हूँ उनको, क्या वो मेरे जो कंपनी का जो गोल है उसको अचीव कर पा रहे हैं कि नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, क्या वो वर्कलोड जो है वो एक्सीड कर रहा है कि कम कर रहा है, ठीक है, तो इट विल हेल्प यू टू मेक अ डिसीजन एफिशिएंसी और प्रोडक्टिविटी के रिगार्डिंग। और हमारे गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बहुत सारे होते हैं, जैसे खासकर मैं टूरिज्म ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए, तो टूरिज्म ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आर स्पेशली होटल accommodation industry, we have more employees there but productivity is less, they are not attracting the tourists also, right, occupancy rate is low, right, so on that basis, like a property has a 20 employees, what is its output in context of revenue probably, right, and there is a B property, the what is the output of that property in context of revenue, you will compare it and then you will take the decision, ठीक है। और कोई एग्जांपल आपकी नजर में? एक ट्रैवल कंपनी होगी जिसके 2 एम्प्लॉय होंगे, बहुत एफिशिएंट होंगे, एक और ट्रैवल कंपनी होगी जिसके एम्प्लॉयज जो है वो 4 होंगे, बट एफिशिएंसी इज नॉट देयर, हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू मेजर दैट एफिशिएंसी? ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ सेल्स, package sale, right? So then better financial performance also, कैसे? For example, if you are taking record of your pocket money, how much money you are spending per month, right, and where are you spending that money also, right? So if you are able to calculate that data by the end of the month, okay, I spent 20,000 for the picnic thing, right, and 10,000 for my study purpose, then it will help you, like I want to be a good student, I want to study more, then you will shift your investment from a picnic thing to study thing, समझ रहे हैं आप लोग? ऐसे ये चीजें जो वो हेल्प करती हैं हमें, this is how we take a kind of accurate decisions, clear? Competitive advantage, इसका क्या मतलब है? Competitive advantage हमने वो मार्क्स वाला बात किया, a student want to achieve want to get graduated with A grade, right? If you are taking care of that data, then it will help you to score good marks and a competitive edge over other students also, right? Or if you have the data in which subject I am good, right, you will keep record of that data and then you can take a decisions accordingly, clear? For example, you have a XYZ homestay and it started way back in 2010. In 2010 the profit was a 10,000, in 2011 profit was a 20,000, in 2000 next it was a 5,000, right? With the passage of time you can calculate like which year was beneficial, more profitable for me, and what are the different reasons, you can extract them all, right? So if I, for example, if you have a property which is giving you 1 lakh profit per year, on the basis of that profit you can start new business also, because you have that data, and just showing that data to the banks you can get a good loan, समझ रहे हैं आप कितनी इंपॉर्टेंस है डाटा की, राइट? सो improved customer retention or satisfaction, कैसे? For example, you have a restaurant, this local cuisine restaurant, right? So you have a feedback form there, how do you rate the ambience of my place, how do you rate the taste of the food, how do you rate the behavior of the staff, then for example you took that feedback for 1 month, and then by the end of the 1 month if you analyze that data, then maybe you are feeling okay, my ambience is good, my taste of the food is good, but the location of the restaurant is not good, so it will help you to decide, or if taste is good, this the taste is good, behavior of the staff is good, but ambience is not good, it will help you to take a decision to improve the ambience of your property. Clear? So types of data, there are two major categories of data, which are qualitative and quantitative. When we are talking about qualitative data, it is a nominal data and it is a categorical data, ordinal data. Okay, and in this quantitative thing, we have interval data and ratio data. Okay, so when we are talking about nominal data and ordinal data, there was a question. No, there was no question in your questionnaire yesterday. For example, how do we mark your attendance? We have P for present and A for absent, right? So they are nominal. Okay, they are no, it's just nominating things. Clear? More of this thing is like which telecom company SIM card do you use? So it can be BSNL, Airtel, or this. So these are the nominal. These are the nominal things. Addition and subtraction of these idea with the Geo or with some, it wouldn't give you any output. But they are just a namesake. Just a, for example, this road is ready to go or not. How would you come to know? With the green signal. So green is to go, yellow is to ready or to look around, and red is to stop. So they are nominal information. That is the nominal data. Clear? Then we have ordinal data. For example, there are grades: A grade, A plus grade, B grade, B plus. They are orders. A grade is lesser than your A plus, or B is greater than your C grade, right? So it has importance. One is more than others, right? But you cannot add or subtract that information, right? Orders have, they have significance. Like A grade is A grade is A plus grade is higher than A, or some others, other whatever gradings. O is there, A plus is there, A grade is there, B plus is there, B is there, C is there, P is there, right? So these have, they are the orders. For example, your Olympians, gold, silver, and bronze. Importance is there. Importance is there, but number doesn't have significance, right? And we have continuous data, or this quantitative data. It is interval scale data and ratio scale data. The key difference between the both is in case of interval data, zero has significance, right? For example, 0 degree temperature, does it mean something or not? Bolo, yes or no? 0 डिग्री टेम्परेचर का कुछ मतलब है या नहीं है? 0 डिग्री टेम्परेचर में कितनी ठंड होती है ना, ठीक है? पर व्हेन यू आर सेइंग जीरो एज, डज इट समथिंग, डज इट मीन समथिंग? नो, जीरो मीन नथिंग. जीरो, देयर इज नो जीरो, देयर इज नथिंग, राइट? 0 kg weight, right? No. So this is the key difference between the interval scale and ratio scale, okay, or data. These are the key difference, right? Nominal data is there. You are depicting this male with 0 and female with 1. So addition of 0 and 1 doesn't mean it will become something like this. Okay, done. And moreover, the very common example of nominal scale is a gender, male, female. Addition of a male plus male doesn't going to make two males. It doesn't have any significance. Or female plus female doesn't going to make anything, right? But yes, you can draw, you can make a descriptive analysis. For example, you interviewed 40 people. For example, you interviewed 40 people, then you can make an inference that okay, out of these 40 people, 20 were or 15 were male and rest 25 were females, right? Clear? But addition and deletion is, it is not there. This is their zip code, blood type, blood group, right? They are nominal data, right? Eye color, political party, travel motives, these are the nominal data. Okay, type of tourist, adventurer, excursionist, what kind of tourist he or she is, right? Ordinal data, it is regarding rating and school grades. We already discussed about A plus, A grade, right? A plus is a, and this greater than and less than these arithmetic signs are applicable in such kind of data. Clear? समझ आ रहा कुछ? नहीं आ रहा? Economic class, middle class, elite class, right? Or this there is another class is there for non-criminal, right? Such kind of a economic class in the country are, right? Education, your elementary, graduation, PG, UG, doctorate, these are the grades. PhD is higher than masters, right? But you cannot add like a masters, addition of master with PhD will make some other degree. No, it is not going to make it, right? So this is the case. Clear? And how do we measure this? Rating, satisfying. Rating is how do you rate your tour? Satisfactory, unsatisfactory, more neutral, no, don't want to say anything, right? This kind of data you will achieve. Like Likert, you didn't practice, but Likert scale is something like a preferences are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 points are also there, right? So you select something from there and then you answer, right? Or you might have read this, used a few of the washrooms, and there is a this chart is there. How do you rate the hygiene? How do you rate the cleanliness? Right? Interval data, we have discussed it. So, for example, this temperature they are talking about, right? Temperature. This temperature is considered as an interval data rather than ratio data. Okay. So because they are saying like a zero. This is the key difference is zero regarding the zero. 0 degree means something. When zero doesn't have anything, zero doesn't have meaning, then it is a your ratio scale. Okay. Data analysis method. Why do we analyze the data now? Right? There are 4 key components, and they are diagnostic method, descriptive, right? Prescriptive and predictive. Diagnostic, descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive. Doctor prescribes you. Okay, have this ABC medicine, right? You will get cured of this thing, right? So this is one case. Then we have predictive, right? In our villages, what happens? Just with the change of weathers, patterns, or our ancestors, our elders, they predict the weathers. This something is going on, so it will something like this will happen, right? Or even in the our mythologies, there are, if something is related, even though they are superstitious things are there, but they are associated with some predictions, right? Or the presentations of students in the class, a teacher can predict like what kind of student he or she is going to be in future, what kind of a human being he or she is going to be in future, right? Now descriptive is something, it is related to historical, but whatever it has happened, you just write about the tourism industry of Ladakh. So you will historical development of tourism industry in Ladakh. How are you going? So it is something which has happened, right? You just describe that scenario. If I ask you how was your travel experience to Colombo, अभी तो गए थे थोड़ी देर पहले, है ना? So when you travel from Leh to Colombo, how was your traveling experience? You will describe that scenario. It has already happened and you are describing that, right? Story kind of thing, storytelling, right? Then we have a diagnostic. Why it happened? Why it happened? The tourist inflow in Ladakh was exponentially shooted after 2010. Why? बताओ, बताओ. To find the cause why it happened, पुलिस क्या करती है? डायग्नोस्टिक. क्यों ऐसा क्यों हुआ? ठीक है, सो ऐसा क्यों हुआ, दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ अ डायग्नोस्टिक रिसर्च मेथड्स. क्लियर? तो चार तरीके हैं जब भी हम एनालिसिस करते हैं. तो हमारा मेन, ये भी इंडिविजुअल का चॉइस है कि मैं उस सिनेरियो को डिस्क्राइब करना चाहता हूं, या मैं इसका रूट कॉज फाइंड करना चाहता हूं, या मैं गवर्नमेंट को, पॉलिसी मेकर्स को ये प्रिस्क्राइब करना चाहता हूं कि ये करोगे आप तो ऐसा नहीं होगा. क्लियर? या आप ये प्रेडिक्शन करना चाहते हैं कि इस साल इतना टूरिस्ट आया तो अगले साल इतना टूरिस्ट आ सकता है. क्लियर? समझ रहे हैं आप लोग? बैचलर वालों को तो थोड़ा हैवी लग रहा होगा ये, नहीं लग रहा? थोड़ा सा क्या ऊपर का, ऊपर वाले रूम में पढ़ना है? ठीक है, दीज आर द की कंपोनेंट्स. यू आर अभी नहीं है, जब आप बाद में. अब तो देखो नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में अगर थर्ड ईयर में तो फोर्थ ईयर में आप जाओगे तो यू आर सपोज टू स्टडी रिसर्च. ये वहां है, क्लियर है. अभी नहीं, आपको पीएचडी का वेट नहीं करना पड़ेगा. नहीं चल रहा है? अच्छा सॉरी, ऐसे ऐसे ही है सर. ऐसे हो जाएगा. हाँ हो गया, आ गया. थैंक यू. ओके, कम बैक प्लीज. सो who are interested into this data analysis? कौन करेंगे इस डाटा एनालिसिस को? करेंगे कौन? रिसर्चर, टूरिज्म प्रोफेशनल जिनकी अपनी ट्रैवल कंपनीज हैं, पॉलिसी मेकर्स, गवर्नमेंट्स. वो क्या है? रिसर्च करवाती है, डाटा को एनालाइज करवाती है. क्या हमने वो करना है? if government came to know like all of our young students in 10th standard they are getting 90%, तो गवर्नमेंट को कुछ इनसाइट्स मिलेगा ना उससे कि हमारे टीचर बहुत अच्छे हो गए. ऐसा आएगा कि ऐसा है कि सोसाइटी जो है दे आर मोर इनटू ट्यूशन थिंग, है ना? दे विल ड्रॉ देयर ओन प्रेडिक्शन एंड अकॉर्डिंगली दे विल मेक द पॉलिसीज. ठीक है, लद्दाख में अगर फॉर एग्जांपल एक्स वाई जेड होम स्टे ओनर दे केम टू नो लाइक मोर पीपल आर कमिंग टू दिस प्लेस फॉर स्पिरिचुअल प्रैक्टिसेस, right? Or there is a person who is interested to study for spiritual tourism, right? As you did yesterday, anyone was there who is visiting to Ladakh for spiritual tourism? No one था ना, है ना? तो that component is a very less and it can be developed as a niche tourism product. So spiritual tourism in Ladakh cannot be a mass tourism product, but it can be a niche tourism product. What is the difference between mass and niche? Niche is something new. It is something like a blue ocean strategy based business. Okay, so and you can develop tourism professional, tourism researchers, all other researchers, government policy makers, they all go through the analysis of data so they can draw better policy for the betterment of the nations, betterment of the country, better policies design, and for the quality of life of the common people, civilians of the country. Okay ji, अब ये डाटा लाइफ साइकिल क्या है, कैसे है? हम सबसे पहले करते हैं, ये देखो आप, ये दिस इज एग्जांपल फ्रॉम यस्टरडे, जस्ट बी हियर, यू कलेक्टेड द डाटा, उसके बाद क्या किया, कुछ नहीं किया उसके बाद हमने, उसके बाद क्या किया, उसके बाद हम क्या करेंगे, एक शीट बनाएंगे, शीट बनाएंगे, उसमें एंटर करेंगे, इसको नंबरिंग देंगे, कोडिंग करेंगे इसकी, ठीक है, कोडिंग करेंगे कि जैसे एज था तो हमने एज को कैटेगराइज कर दिया कि अप टू 20 years ओल्ड जो है उसको हम एक नंबर देंगे, आफ्टर 20 जो उसको 20 to 40 जो उसको दो नंबर देंगे, ऐसे ऐसे करके जो कोडिंग करते हैं आप। फॉर एग्जाम्पल the person who is traveling to that place with the purpose to explore the culture, we will give him or her one or anyone you are interested, we will code it, we will give some code into, ठीक है जी। सो कोडिंग करेंगे, कोडिंग के बाद क्या करेंगे, हम डिसाइड करेंगे कि हमने करना क्या इस डाटा का, ठीक है जी। तो यू विल यूज सम टेक्निक्स to analyze the data. It can be you want to calculate the frequency, how many tourists are visiting for cultural purpose, how many tourists are visiting for adventure, what is the number of percentage of female travelers, right? ये आपने एनालिसिस कर लिया, फिर उस एनालिसिस को हमने विजुलाइज करना है। विजुलाइज कैसे करेंगे, चार्ट्स बनाएंगे, पाई चार्ट्स बनाएंगे, ठीक है, विजुलाइज दिखाने के लिए अच्छा लगता है ना, विजुलाइज जब अच्छे से पिक्चर्स वाला जो इंफॉर्मेशन रहती है विजुलाइज, ठीक है, उससे फिर हम कंक्लूजन निकालेंगे, ठीक है, कि देर आर मोर वुमेन ट्रेवलिंग टू लद्दाख फॉर स्पिरिचुअल प्रैक्टिसेस, सो इट मींस देयर इज अ नीड टू डेवलप मोर वुमेन टूरिज्म प्रोफेशनल इन द स्टेट और यूटी, समझ रहे, नहीं समझ रहे, ठीक है। सो ऐसे जो है वो इंटरप्रिटेशन और ये सब जो है एक सर्कल है, नॉर्मल सर्कल है, ये डाटा के साथ हम कैसे क्या करते हैं, क्लियर। हाउ टू इंप्रूव डाटा एनालिसिस स्किल्स, इंप्रूव भी तो करनी पड़ेगी ना, कैसे, जो रूबिक खेलते हैं ना, वो क्या बोलते हैं इसको, रूबिक बोलते हैं ना, वो वैसी वैसी एक्सरसाइज, पजल्स, मोर, ट्राई टू प्ले मोर विद डेटा, सो दिस इज हाउ योर डाटा एनालिसिस स्किल्स आर इंप्रूविंग। डाटा साइंटिस्ट, याद रख लेना इस चीज को, डाटा साइंटिस्ट आर द मोस्ट डिमांडेड अमंग द मोस्ट डिमांडेड प्रोफेशनल इन द वर्ल्ड। डाटा एनालिस्ट की बहुत जरूरत है, तो डाटा को बड़े अच्छे अच्छे से एनालाइज, विजुलाइज कर सकते हैं और अच्छी पॉलिसी बना सकते हैं, याद रखना इस चीज को, ठीक है। डाटा साइंटिस्ट, country, even the country and at global platform, it is highly needed, right? We are lacking into good data scientist. Data scientist means a person who is analyzing or visualizing or giving some meaningful outputs, okay? Quantitative techniques, descriptive statistics, covariance based data analysis techniques, and time series. We will not go for other, there are regressions also, right? Time series analysis also, right? Forecasting techniques also, right? We will just go with the, even though this descriptive statistics is enough for us, right? So it talks about a frequency based information, कितने टूरिस्ट आए, उसमें वुमेन्स कितने थे, मेल कितने थे, फीमेल कितने थे, एक्सपेंडिचर क्या है, और ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन कहां से मिलेगी, हमने क्वेश्चनर में डाला। पर डे देयर वाज अ क्वेश्चन, पर डे स्पेंडिंग in the questionnaire yesterday, there was a question, right? What was other questions was there? Origin, right? So in your what was it, origin, America, see. So you can analyze, for example, you just talk to 4 or 5 people when you are actually conducting a research which is based on questionnaires and all these techniques, you meet a good number of people, and that number of people is also decided as per this different sample calculation tools, right? Generally it is a 10 times the number of questions in your questionnaire, okay? ये क्वेश्चनर, ये चीज कितने लोगों से पूछनी है हमें, जनरली जो है लेमन लैंग्वेज में ये है कि इट मस्ट बी 10 टाइम्स द नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस इन योर क्वेश्चनर, ठीक है। तो आपके क्वेश्चनर में इट वाज आई थिंक अराउंड 8 क्वेश्चंस, So you are supposed to ask 80 people, पर हमने नहीं पूछा because it was an exercise and we just wanted to know how to approach a tourist. ठीक है जी, मेन फंडा ही हुआ, right? So descriptive study, covariance based data analysis technique, it is something every variable has some impact on other variables, right? So a variable, how much I can explain this a variable, how much it is explaining to b, it is a variance. Clear? Just say, for example, I want to measure happiness. I want to measure happiness, right? So I will frame few questions, right? So are those questions are actually reaching that point or that concept to which I want to measure, right? Generally it must be beyond 50%, क्योंकि in the nature the probability is 50% of happening anything, होगा या ना होगा का जो probability है वो है 50%, right? So this is a covariance, how much a thing can explain the variance of a construct, right? Time series analysis is something like we talked about a profit of a homestay in X year, by year, Z year, and then you realized what kind of pattern it is there. I getting profit from this or loss from this? So with the passage of time, what is the change in that number? It is a part of time series analysis. Done. So how we are going to measure? Now the basic concept is there. You are clear with the data. What is data? You are clear. What are the different techniques? You are clear with that. What is a Rubina नींद आ रही है? Okay. So we are clear with the data analysis, data analytics. Now we will come to this point, right? And different types of data as well. So now we are coming back to this, how to measure these different things. Now there is a concept, tourist arrival and departure concept. ठीक है? How are we going to measure it? कैसे measure करेंगे? लद्दाख कितने टूरिस्ट आए, कितने गए? जो आए थे वो सारे चले गए कि यहीं यहाँ तो नहीं रह गए कुछ? वो कैसे पता चलेगा हमें? कैसे पता चलेगा? आप बताओ लद्दाख कितना टूरिस्ट आया, कितना आया, वो कैसे पता चलेगा हमें? डाटा तो है, पर वो डाटा कहां से मिलेगा? रिसेप्शन, किसकी रिसेप्शन से? यूनिवर्सिटी रिसेप्शन से? बताओ बताओ बताओ, लद्दाख में कितने टूरिस्ट आए इस साल, जनवरी से लेके मई 2025 तक कितना टूरिस्ट आया, कैसे पता चलेगा? बताओ कैसे पता चलेगा? रुको रुको, आपका क्लासमेट बता रहे हैं, कैसे पता चलेगा ये? बताओ। लास्ट कैसे पता चलेगा कितने टूरिस्ट आए लद्दाख की, कैसे पता चलेगा? एयरपोर्ट से। फिर सारे टूरिस्ट का पता चल जाएगा कितने टूरिस्ट आए लद्दाख। हाँ क्या? टोल, ठीक है, टोल और एयरपोर्ट्स, ठीक है, यही तरीका है, और है कोई? चेक पोस्ट। बताओ बताओ बताओ, इतना इजी क्वेश्चन। अब हमें यही नहीं पता हमारे लद्दाख में कितने टूरिस्ट आते हैं, कैसे आते हैं, कहाँ कहाँ से आते हैं? होटल्स, ठीक है। So there are few techniques. He is saying from the airports, tourist arrival at airports, number of tourist arrival at airports plus tolls, how many tourists? But at the tolls they just book your taxi number. They don't ask for the number of tourists, right? So the basic criteria is number of hotels in Ladakh, right, or any property, and how many tourists they handled. Clear? So do you think there is a need to strengthen this framework to measure the tourist arrival in Ladakh? बोलो बोलो क्वेश्चन ये है कि क्या ये जो फ्रेमवर्क सेट किया है कि हम जो अभी अगर आज की डेट में हमने टूरिस्ट अराइवल जो है वो पता करना हो लद्दाख का, तो हम क्या करते हैं कि एयरपोर्ट्स पे पता करते हैं, जो भी है हमारा यहाँ पे जो भी बुकिंग्स फ्लाइट्स वो रहा उससे पता चलेगा इतने टूरिस्ट वहां पे एयरपोर्ट्स पे अराइव हुए, क्योंकि निकालते हैं वो लोग, उनके पास डाटा रहता है। ठीक है, सेकंड है ऑल दी होटल्स जो भी है लद्दाख में अकोमोडेशन यूनिट्स है उसके पास कितने टूरिस्ट ठहरे, तो उससे हमें पता चल जाएगा कि लद्दाख कितना टूरिस्ट आया। इज दिस राइट वे टू कलेक्ट टू मेजर द टूरिस्ट अराइवल इन लद्दाख? सुन लो एक बार ध्यान से, दिस इज वेरी की क्वेश्चन। बताओ, इससे पता चल जाएगा हमें कि लद्दाख कितना टूरिस्ट आया? एग्जैक्ट पता नहीं चलेगा, क्यों? और भी जगह, अब देखो फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू स्टार्टेड टू ट्रेवल फ्रॉम ले टू नुब्रा via Chumathang, right? You are staying in Leh also, you are staying somewhere in Chumathang also, you are staying in Pangong also, you are staying somewhere in Nubra also, right? You took stay at 4 places. Now we are saying all the tourists, all the hotels in Ladakh who occupied XYZ number of tourists. Now you are the repeated tourist. This data will increase, na? But tourist is the one, but it will show 4. Then this checkpost, checkpost it tells you about a tourist vehicle, which tourist vehicle. It doesn't explain about how many tourists are there. कहाँ? Permit to be. I have personal experience. This permit, inner line permit is most altered thing. Or permit is needed when you are going inside inner areas. If you are traveling to Leh, you don't need it. And there are, I'm sure there are many people who just come to Leh and they go back. Fair? So we need good source of data for the tourist arrival. Okay, this is how we can measure this tourist arrival at a place, right? And this is in context of country. So just imagine how tough it is. Land borders are there, seaports are there, airports are there, right? So government is taking care of this business so nicely that they are providing us data at least. Clear? So tourist expenditure. How are you going to measure the tourist expenditure? Like how much money tourists are spending in Ladakh? Yeah. How are you going to calculate this? Like how much money they are spending in Ladakh? Tourist. Bank transaction is being used by locals also. Tour package, tour package और ये है बेसिक मेजरमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं हम, जहां सिर्फ डाटा की बात हो रही है। अभी टेस्ट वाली बात तो हुई नहीं, जहां पे ए का बी के ऊपर इफेक्ट क्या पड़ रहा है और तब कैसे सेटिस्फेक्शन मेजर कर रहे हैं। क्या हुआ? ठीक है, ठीक है। तो एक्सपेंडिचर बोलता है सर्वे कंडक्ट करेंगे फिर हम। सर्वे कंडक्ट, सर्वे क्या है? क्वेश्चनियर। क्वेश्चनियर्स का एक्सटेंडेड रोल। व्हेन यू आर एक्चुअली इनटू द प्रोसेस, यू आर गोइंग इनटू द फील्ड विद क्वेश्चनियर, then you are asking the peoples about, right, how much do you spend, so we can approximately we can reach that number, right? And for the exact number you can calculate the income expenses of the tourist at the hotels, restaurants, right? And then you can probably at the hotel, then you calculate it, because tourists probably stay in the accommodation properties or hotel, right? So they are saying about bank transactions also, so it can be by name also, or for example it is more easy for international tourist, right? Right, bank cards here calculate average spendings by tourist, right? So survey is one of the method to calculate the information on how much money they are spending in a XYZ destination. Okay, length of stay. Generally, a tourist, for how many days a tourist is staying at a place, there is a formula. Average length of stay is equal to total number of nights, total tourist nights divided by total number of tourists visited that place. Okay, this is very basic criteria to measure the things. So we till now we measure three criteria: tourist arrival, tourist expenditure, and stay. Right? Tourist satisfactions. Now this is a bit complex scenario. Right? So maybe tourist is satisfied with the hotel ambience, but not with the hotel staff or food. So such kind of a complex networks are a tough job to measure. Like how are you going to measure the satisfaction of a tourist, right? So for that we need advanced software analysis technique, advanced test, and this we were talking about covariance based structure regression modeling is one of a way, one of the criteria framework to measure the tourist satisfaction in complex model. Okay, there is about a t-test also. T-test is a kind of a test which measures, for example, which measure the variance in means. Okay, means, what are the means? We already discussed. Average is a mean, right? So for example, you are a group of 60 people or 40 people, right? We randomly we divided 20-20. We made two groups. Okay, we send group A to Goa and group B to Shillong, right? So we want to measure how much improvement is in their happiness after the tour, right? This is an analysis of a t-test. It will measure your satisfaction level, right? Different groups, independent groups, simple groups, right? So t-test is there to measure the experiences. Like when it is there are groups are related there, up to two groups are there, then it is this test is used. Okay, t-test or student test is this is also known as a students test. Okay, so this generally talks about the differences in the means, okay, of any two groups. Okay, this is one sample t-test, independent sample t-test, and a pair sample t. So we test, we when we are talking about we made two groups of you of the same students, then it is a independent samples. Independent samples with the two different locations, right? If same group is there and we gave a dose to this person, this group, and B group is without dose. So we just want to see the change of that dose. That for example, you attended this workshop and they didn't attend it. So we just want to see the change in spiritual knowledge, spiritual destination, development knowledge in your knowledge and in their knowledge. So what is the significant change? So this is a paired. You are paired with that single. If we want to change, we want to know the spiritual knowledge among you. ठीक है? नहीं ठीक है, नहीं आएगा पता. ठीक है, ये बेस एग्जामिनेशन टेस्ट रिमूव करो. ठीक है, time series analysis we discussed already, right? There are four stages: seasonality, trend, cyclicity, and irregularity. If the data is going to give you such kind of images, you can say that okay, these are the things there. Visitor flows and pattern. How are you going to measure to which destination tourists are going more, traveling more? So they are saying your mobile data, your location, GPS informations, it gives you. For example, whenever you are traveling and you use Google Maps, the redness shows more traffic toward that side. So that is a flow of tourism, flow of people. That is the flow of people. But in our case, for example, if there is more occupancy of hotels in Leh than Nubra, then Pangong, then we will say the tourist flow is more in Leh city than other places, right? Visitors per area ratio. This is regarding the carrying capacity. Carrying capacity is a what it means. Carrying capacity. Carrying capacity, it can be social carrying capacity, it can be environmental carrying capacity, and it can be cultural carrying capacity. Right? If X Y Z destination can revive to the original state, original state. For example, you are traveling to XYZ destination, right? And you had picnic there, you had picnic there, okay, you had picnic there, and if the environment of that place can revive to its original stage without external help, then we will say like it is a carrying, this carrying, environmental carrying capacity of that place is a revived, right? What is the difference between carrying capacity and regenerative capacity or regenerative tourism? You might have read this word very frequently, regenerative tourism. For example, you went on a track, okay, and you found some trash when you were traveling on the you were tracking on the route, right? What you did, you just collected that whole garbage, sorry, all trash, and you took back to that garbage, right? So you left that track more beautiful than you received it. That is regenerative tourism. समझ, किसी चीज को पहले से ज्यादा अच्छा बना के आ गए आप लोग, उसी को ही रीजनरेटिव टूरिज्म बोलते हैं। ठीक है जी। Tourism destination performance measurement. So these are the complex models. They are the complex models. These are not like basically we want to measure the tourist arrival at destinations or tourist expenditure, right? These are the complex thing, because destination performance it depends upon multiple parameters. पांच तो आपके ही हो गए, है ना? 5 तो वो जनरली है, accommodation कैसा है, attraction कैसा है, ये सब कैसा है, तो how they are leading towards the destination performance. उसके अलावा भी और है, ठीक है? Assurance है आपका, acclimatization is also there, right? Acculturation is also there, right? So they are the complex models. ठीक है? नहीं ठीक है, ठीक है? हाँ कर रही है। सिंपल है, एक तरीका है, आप क्या करेंगे, नंबर से मेजर कर लिया आपने, ये पता करना कि लद्दाख में कितना टूरिस्ट आया है, तो दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ इजी जॉब। आप जाएंगे टूरिज्म डिपार्टमेंट को पूछेंगे, या आप जाएंगे, आप एयरपोर्ट्स पे पता करेंगे, या आप टोल जो चेक पोस्ट है उससे पता करेंगे, यू विल कम टू नो, राइट? पर लद्दाख एज ए डेस्टिनेशन अच्छा कर रही है कि नहीं कर रही है, वो कैसे पता करेंगे? दे आर कॉम्प्लेक्स मेजरमेंट्स, ठीक है? और रिग्रेशन हो गया, कोरिलेशंस हो गया, वो उसके टेक्निक्स हैं कुछ, उसको निकालने के, एनालाइज करने के। डन? सो रिसर्च में कुछ बेसिक सी चीजें हैं जो प्रेजेंटेशन करने के लिए, ठीक है? जब भी हम रेक्टेंगल से प्रेजेंट करते हैं तो इसका मतलब है हमारा क्वेश्चन है वो हमारी इंडिविजुअल आइटम थी, ठीक है? कल वाला जो क्वेश्चनर है उससे क्या है, हमने क्या मेजर किया, टूरिस्ट प्रोफाइल मेजर किया लगभग, है ना? टूरिस्ट प्रोफाइल इन लद्दाख, ठीक है जी। तो टूरिस्ट प्रोफाइल हम इसमें लिखेंगे, ये फैक्टर होगा, बड़ा फैक्टर होगा, और उसको बनाएंगे, कौन कौन सी चीजें बनाएंगे? एज तो खैर इसके लिए हमें चाहिए रेटिंग बेस्ड, ऑर्डर बेस्ड डेटा। So age is not a orderly, that is a more about your interval kind of data, right? Interval data, right? ये ऐसा है, ये इसका मतलब जिस तरफ को एरो लगा है तो इट इज इंपैक्टिंग दैट थिंग, सिंपल, ठीक है? एरो इज लीडिंग फ्रॉम दिस पॉइंट टू दिस पॉइंट, इट मींस दिस थिंग इज इंपैक्टिंग दिस थिंग, राइट? एंड दिस इज अ कंस्ट्रक्ट, दिस इज अ फैक्टर, दिस इज अ आइटम। अभी दिखाऊंगा, ये देखो दो तरह के मॉडल होते हैं बेसिकली हमारे पास, हम इसमें दो तरह के पढ़ेंगे, रिफ्लेक्टिव स्केल और फॉर्मेटिव स्केल। रिफ्लेक्टिव क्या होता है और फॉर्मेटिव क्या होता है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, happiness is there. So what are the different components which are leading toward the formation of your happiness? It can be financial independence, it can be how much you are how much pocket money you are getting, right? Or it can be how much contentment you have with your family, right? Personal life, right? Shopping, cultural cultural activities are also part of happiness, right? So when you are asking the same question in a different way, right? When you are asking the same questions in a different way, then it makes your reflective model, right? When there are essential things, you are asking essential things to make XYZ thing, then it is a formative. For example, in context of a in context of a travel motivation, in context of a Maslow's hierarchy, in context of a Maslow's hierarchy, there are selected four components. They are psychological needs, love and belonging, esteem and self-help. They are complex questions, they are fit questions, and they are going to make your formative model, right? No addition, no deletion, right? But similarly, I'm asking you some questions on happiness. I feel happy when I travel, I feel happy when I travel by car, I feel happy when I travel by motorcycle, right? So removing one or two, any of the question is not going to impact that. You are traveling, right? Similarly, when you, for example, if you want to measure the god, so in Hindu mythology there is a three gods. Your Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So they are complete. They are forming that concept of God. Clear? So formative complex is something you cannot alter, you cannot change. But in case of reflective models, you can, changing of one or the other item is not going to influence it. Clear? नहीं clear? थोड़ा समझ आया? आपने बोला, आपसे पूछा मैंने कि आपकी जिंदगी किन चीजों के ऊपर डिपेंड करती है, तो आपने बोला मेरी लाइफ में तीन चीजें सेट है, मुझे आई वांट टू लिव माय लाइफ विद फैमिली, आई वांट टू हैव माय ओन बिजनेस, एंड आई वांट टू एक्सेल इन लाइफ। तीन कंपोनेंट है मेरे लाइफ की हैप्पीनेस के। ओके, जब मेरी लाइफ में चीजें सेट हैं, जब सेट है तो दैट इज अ फॉर्मेटिव रिफ्लेक्ट, एंड व्हेन देयर इज अल्टरेशन, देयर कैन बी चेंज समथिंग, देन इट इज अ रिफ्लेक्टिव। Fix is related to formative, and when it is something changeable, it is a reflective. Okay, so it is also saying measures are representative of the latent variables. It can be happiness, like happiness is a, we were talking about, I love traveling, I love to travel, I travel to mountains, I travel to beaches, I travel by car, I travel by cycle, right? So changing one and the other is not going to impact it. Traveling is giving him happiness, that's all. And this is the case of formative. Formative, we talked about a Maslow hierarchy. Four components are there. It means there. These are the different models. Okay, and Joffel, which model it was in your research? Formative, reflective. Formative and reflective. What was it? He worked on a responsible traveler framework. Right? Responsible traveler framework was a construct. It was measured through four components: informed traveler, इन्फॉर्म ट्रैवलर्स, इन्फॉर्म्ड बिहेवियर, और क्या था, इन्फॉर्म ट्रैवलर, इन्फॉर्म बिहेवियर, डेस्टिनेशन नॉलेज एंड रिस्पेक्ट फॉर द कल्चर. If a person is doing for these four things, then it is going to form the, it is going to form that your responsible traveler framework, right? And then how it was leading toward the sustainable, that was a part of a reflective thing, right? That is a correct, that is reflecting something, that is a giving something. Clear? So building research model, research model कैसे बनते हैं? research model आपके इंटरेस्ट के हिसाब से बनता है. रिफ्लेक्टिव, फॉर्मेटिव, फॉर्मेटिव रिफ्लेक्टिव कैसा है? आपकी रिसर्च डिसाइड करेगी, आपका इंटरेस्ट डिसाइड करेगा, आपका जो पढ़ाई पीछे की पढ़ाई है, रिसर्च स्टडीज है, वो डिसाइड करेंगे कि क्या है ये, कैसे आप रिसर्च मॉडल बनाएंगे. क्लियर? हम एग्जांपल लेते हैं, लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म एंड कल्चरल रिवाइवल. ठीक है, कि स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म जो है वो कैसे कल्चरल रिवाइवल को लीड कर रहा है. दिस इज आवर ऑनगोइंग स्टडी. ओके, तो सबसे पहले तो ये दो चीजें हैं, दो चीजें हैं. ये एक, ओ देखो क्या हुआ, बताओ क्या पढ़ा अब तक? ठीक है, आगे चलो, ठीक है, अच्छा, ठीक है. सो वी वांट टू नो द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म एंड कल्चरल रिवाइवल, हाउ इट इज impacting each other. Okay, so for that it was my interest, it was your interest to study spiritual tourism, that's why you are here. When your interest is identified, then you will start reading. Okay, in that context we read this paper. Research paper is some research documents, right, written by some good researchers. Okay, we went through this and then we came to know he has identified these 7 steps which are essential for spiritual tourism experiences. Okay, he is talking about spiritual coping, purpose of life, consciousness, transcendence, spiritual resources, self determinations and soul purification. अब पर्पस ऑफ लाइफ को भी हम मेजर करेंगे. I travel because I feel the I find the purpose of life, right? Spiritual practices gives me clear purpose of life. These are the questions, and from where these questions will come? These questions will come from the this paper. This is one paper. When you are into research, you read more papers, more and more papers, right? Boring, right? Okay, so these are the simple concept. Then we read another paper, right? It is talking about the dimension of spiritualities, right? And this paper again talk about 6 dimensions. The other paper that talk about 7 dimensions, this paper talked about 6 dimensions. And then we clubbed few of the common, okay, and we came up with the, and then we see, till now we just study the spiritual tourism, but we want to study the connection between spiritual tourism and cultural revival also. So we are supposed to find that literature also. तो उसके रिगार्डिंग हमने ये बुक पढ़ा जिसमें लिखा था कि स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म जो है वो हेल्प करता है किसी भी कम्युनिटी के कल्चर को रिवाइव करने के लिए. तो कनेक्शन होना चाहिए. मान लो, अब और एग्जांपल लेते हैं. पुलिस वाले क्या करते हैं, पहले केस लगा देते हैं, नाम लगा देते हैं, ये इसका नाम आ गया, ठीक है. फिर किस किस को छोड़ देते हैं इनिशियल इन्वेस्टिगेशन में, जिसका नाम नहीं आता, जिसका कोई कनेक्शन नहीं आता, ठीक है. तो यही है, हमारे में कनेक्शन आ गया, जिसको पढ़ के हमारे पास कनेक्शन आ गया, हम उसको चैप्टर को, उसको रिसर्च पेपर को रख लेते हैं, जिसमें नहीं आता उसको छोड़ देते हैं, ठीक है. तो हम जो रिसर्च मॉडल बनाते हैं, दैट इज ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ सम गुड स्टडी मटेरियल. अखबार में आए हुए उसको बेस बहुत कम केसेस में बनाते हैं. अदरवाइज एक अच्छी जो रिसर्च हुई, अच्छा जो काम हुआ है, वहीं से हम स्टडी करते हैं रुबीना, ठीक है. सो थ्योरी ऑफ कल्चरल रिवाइवल के ऊपर भी हमें डाटा मिला, जो भी मिला वहां से हमने जो है अपना मॉडल बिल्ड किया. ऐसे बना मॉडल. बढ़ा कि नहीं बढ़ा? बढ़ा ना? तो स्पिरिचुअल टूरिज्म के लिए जो है ये 9 कंपोनेंट्स आ गए। ये एरो क्यों लगा रहे हैं हम? हमने पहले पढ़ा बेसिक रूल में, दिस बोला था ना हमने। ये जो है ये बॉक्स है, these are the these are the control variable, जेंडर है ना। देखो कहीं भी पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं तो वहां का इन्वायरमेंट जो है वो सिमिलर, दिस इज द इन्वायरमेंट, एनवायरमेंट में हम जो वो स्टडी कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। अब ये क्या है, ये कौन सा मॉडल है? सिर्फ ये रिफ्लेक्टिव है या फॉर्मेटिव है? रिफ्लेक्टिव हो सकता है। दिस इज assumed a formative model which are forming this spiritual tourism। खाना बनाने के लिए क्या क्या चाहिए, है ना? तो ये खाना है और इस, ठीक है जी। वैसे ही, और इट कैन बी n into numbers, this can be numerous, other people will come, they will, they, clear जी? So this is how spiritual tourism is leading to revival, or especially Tibetan culture revival. It is going to reflect its thing through Tibetan knowledge, its Tibetan performing arts, oral traditions, right? So identification of tourism research, how do you identify like research in this context? Trend. Pursuing PhD, you will go with the interest of your, right? For example, if you are going to degree, then your class teacher will tell you to do research, उसमें भी करना पड़ेगा आपको। तो चाहे 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 अच्छे करो, पर रिसर्च जो है इट इज गोइंग टू बी इंटीग्रल पार्ट ऑफ योर, राइट? So how are you going to decide your interest? You will brainstorm, you will talk to your group, आपके दोस्त जो है, close friends जो है, you will talk to senior, then you will come to that point, and then you will identify your research. In which area of tourism research you are supposed to do? In context of Ladakh, water shortage is so how can you host more tourists with less water consumptions, right? It can be like for example, few of the tourists who are coming from outside, they are very rowdy. So what is their influence on the society, on the young generations, right? How the biking on the rough terrain is influencing the flora and fauna of this place, such kind of things, practical, whatever it is important for the locals, it must be your point of research interest in tourism, right? How can you improve sustainable tourism in Ladakh? How can you improve sustainable this astro tourism in Ladakh? क्यों रुबीना, ऐसे होता है नहीं होता? So these are the variables, and this is sustainable development. It got messed up, sir, right? Identification, how are you going to identify? This is the, what are the trends, what are the trends, what is the need of the locality? These are the things which are going to help you to focus. Done? Any question? No sir. ये किस खुशी में कि लेक्चर खत्म हो गया, उस खुशी में? हाँ सर बोल रहे हैं।